What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Balanced Perception YouTube channel. And today we're back with another build. We are going to be building, as you can see from the title, GI Robot. That's right, GI Robot from Creature Commandos. He was my favorite character in the show. So without further ado, let's get to it. As I said, today we're going to be building GI Commandos face, helmet, this whole getup. And as you can see, we're missing a part, and that's because it's actually still printing, and that's the actual face. It should be done here in 5 or 10 minutes or so. I got it printing last night, and it should be finishing up today, well, right about now, which is about a 24-25 hour print on my Kitty X Max 3. And I'm printing it in PET G. These parts, well, actually this was printed in PET G, and these parts were printed in silk PLA gold. So I probably should have went ahead and printed the helmet in green, but I plan to spray paint it along with these parts too, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But before we run over and grab the actual mask, I just want to talk about these parts a bit. I printed this, as I said, in white PET G. I think it was a Lego PET G, one of the brands that I use. No, actually, I take that back. It was JO. I'm sorry, JO PET G. Everything's good. I've been using PET G almost exclusively because it's way more UV resistant than PLA, and I tend to wear these items at different conventions or at different flea markets. So yeah, having a little bit of extra UV protection is always great. We have the jaw here, and then we have the two buckles that attach to the inside of the helmet, along with the pegs here that connect to the actual mandible portion. I have to say that this file is actually from Yosh Studios, and it's wild that he actually released this because I planned to design it. And then I checked, February, the current month's Patreon release, and this was one of them, and I said, hell yeah, I'm already subscribed to that guy. Does phenomenal work. I've printed tons of his files, but this is, it was the cherry on the cake, or the cherry on the ice cream, whatever you want to say, because I really, really like GI Commando. He was my favorite character in Creature Commandos. Anyways, though, let's go ahead. I'm gonna jump over to the printer in the other room, show you guys the helmet, or the face mask or whatever of GI Robot that is just finished, and then we're gonna hop over to the garage and get a little bit of sanding done, followed by a bit of spray painting. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so as you can see, we're in the other room, and I actually misspoke. I apologize. I printed this on my K1 Max, not on my Kitty X Max, so forgive me for that blunder. But here you can see we have the headpiece, and it was printed in silk PLA. Gonna go ahead and try to pop this off the print bed. This does have the magnetic bed, so with a little bit of force, more force than I wanted, we got this off. And all I have to do is peel it back, and it will pop right off the bed. As you guys can see, I love this printer. It's been doing me very well. The Kitty and the K1 Max are, very close in terms of what I use them to print for, but I will actually be doing an episode on a few quarrels that I have with the Kitty, but that's for another episode. Anyways, though, as you guys can see, printed it with supports running all the way up the middle, tree supports. I don't put supports around the outside here personally because I like to save material. It does make that stringing effect on the inside, but I'm very okay with that and don't really care because, again, that's on the inside. And it doesn't affect the top of the helmet. As you guys can see, it looks very well. So let's take this out to the garage and get to sanding. All right, so I have my orbital sander here, and I've got my triangular sander here, and we're probably gonna be using a grit of around 320. As you guys can see, the lower the number, the rougher it is, the higher the number, the smoother it is. Just a little thing for you guys to remember if you plan to sand things. So we're not gonna, hit this for too long. Just get it down to, a level where I cannot hear my fingers scraping across it, because I do have to admit that the K1 Max and the Kitty did pretty well for these prints. So just going to hit it with some light sanding, and then we're going to go ahead and hit it with some spray painting. right, so I just brought all the items back up from the garage. They have been sanded. Not, of course, as much as I could, but I think it's going to definitely be sufficient, as you cannot hear basically your fingernails going across chalkboard sound or whatever that is when things are unsanded, like going into each individual line. So we're pretty good there. So the next thing we're gonna go ahead and do is spray paint it. I actually left them downstairs, so I'll just show you guys that when I go back to the garage. But we're going to be using a gold, all by Krylon, and we're going to be using a green, of course, by Krylon. And yeah, hopefully it will turn out looking the way I want it to. I must admit, I do like the color here of this gold PLA. And to be honest, you probably could have just stuck with that if you're doing this project yourself. But I kind of just wanted to get rid of the layer lines a little bit and just make it look, you know, a little bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and hit these guys with the spray paint and go from there. So see you guys in a second. All right, guys, so our paint has fully dried, finished drying, and these are the finished products. Of course, we could always get it smoother if we had done more things, but it serves my purposes and I really like the way that it looks. It is pretty smooth, the helmet is pretty smooth, and everything fits. The helmet is really big, like an actual helmet. It works really, really well. If you guys have ever been to one of the consignment stores or one of the military surplus stores, this is about the size of an actual helmet that, a real soldier would be wearing. So, our next step is actually to assemble everything. I forgot to print the number 2 that actually goes in the headpiece here, and I'm printing that right now. So by the time I assemble all this, hopefully that'll be done and that'll be the last piece that we have to add on. But I'm going to switch over and get a better view for you guys to show you how everything fits together. Essentially, this goes together like this. These little bolts go in the side, on the inside here, and then his helmet straps attached to these little nodules that are, inside of the helmet. So, you're good to go there. And the jaw does in fact move. I'm debating if I'm going to glue these in place, but it seems like friction might be enough. So I might just use like a little bit of E6000. If you guys are wondering why I'm using E6000 over super glue makes the best way to describe it is hard bond, and things stick and they snap. Whereas with E6000, it's a sticky bond. I know this is not scientifically correct or anything, but it's the easiest way to describe it. E6000 glue will make kind of like a gummy bond. So if you actually pull the pieces apart, you'll get like a long string as it comes apart, as opposed to super glue where it just snaps right off. So using a bit of E6000, I'm gonna put that in here and it'll just make a little bit more friction, and of course it will hold it all together for a very, very, very long time. So anyways, that's my next step in all of this. I'm gonna get that done and show you the inside of this and how everything is assembled. So let's get to that. To show you guys just how simple this is, you can see the inside. Since I did not use supports around this area, that's why we get the stringing here. But of course, I do not care because that's a part that's not gonna be shown, so I could care less. Anyways though, you can see here we have the mandible piece, and it goes on like so. We're gonna go ahead and put that in there. Well, that's how it's gonna go. We're going to first grab our 2 little nodules. Here's the second one, these 2 little pieces right here. And I'm going to go ahead and apply a bit of our E6000. You can see I've pretty much used the entire, whatever thing for this. So go ahead and apply some E6000 around this, not a ton, just enough to get what I want done. There, and some here. And again, this will still allow me to move it. It might be kind of stuck when I first, after it dries, but you just move it around a little bit and I guarantee you it will come loose and still remain, adhered to whatever you stuck it to. And in this case, it's the mandible. So I'm gonna stick that in here. Well, it's kind of hard to do while showing you guys. There we go. So we got the first piece in right there, and now spinning it around, I'm gonna put the second one in, like so. And once I get it to pop in, oh, it actually is, yep. And just like that, that's all you have to do. It's in, and as you can see, the jaw moves. So there we go. All right, flipping that over. I'm gonna go ahead and let that dry. Well, actually, next we're gonna go ahead and put in the helmet ribbon. So we're gonna do that next. And for the actual helmet itself, I think I'm just going to double-sided tape it because I do want to be able to remove it if I ever, get the feeling to. So that's how we're gonna do the helmet. Let me grab some double-sided tape, be right back. So when I went to actually grab the double-sided tape, I took another look at the model on the inside here, and it's got these two hooks here. One here, one on the other side. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me move this out the way. There's a hook right here, and then there's a hook right in here on the mouth on the other side. I thought that was originally where these straps went, but after looking at everything again, I realized the straps actually go in the helmet here. They go on this side here and this side here. And to be, accurate or whatever, we're putting the right one on the right side, the left on the left side. So I'll go ahead and glue those into place now using definitely a healthy amount of glue so that these do not come out. And what I mean by healthy is pretty much a crap ton. So this tube is about gone, but I like to try to get as much as I can out of it because, again, nothing cosplay related is cheap. So our number 2 is in the front here. So we're gonna go ahead and ram that one into that side and this one into this side. And I love it that it has the 2 pegs so that you really cannot mess this up. I'm gonna go ahead and grab 2 clamps, let this sit. We'll come back, finish off the number 2 and finish off the eyes. I'll see you guys in a little bit. It's been about 30 minutes and we now have our number 2, as you can see here, printed out. And we have the eyes printed out, which we are going to be gluing in here. I actually opted for the angry eyes. They have sad and I think some other one, but I opted for the angry eyes. We're going to glue these in here and we're going to use a combination of super glue along with our E6000, tiny little tube of it left. Going to combine them. I've been doing this for a while. I'm not 100% sure that you're supposed to be doing this, but I know it works and that's what we're going to be doing. While the straps over here are finished gluing, we're going to go ahead and use some basic acrylics I got from Hobby Lobby, some gold acrylic paint to go ahead and get this headband white. So let's hop to the last bit of this project. So as I was saying, to get the eyes in here, we're just going to try to use a combination of this glue here, and let's see if I can get this to work the way I want it to. That is if there's any left in this actual tube here, let's see. And I don't think there's any left in that one. After a bit of trial and error, we finally got the eyes in. There's actually these grooves that are on the inside of the helmet. I can't really show them to you guys, but that's where you place the eyes. I printed these eyes in PET G red, which I had laying around from a previous project, and that's how we got them in there, and now they're currently drying with E6000. The super glue helped a little bit, but the viscosity or the thickness of the E6000 is what eventually got it to just sit in place, and now they're sitting there drying. On to the helmet, we're gonna go ahead and paint it up and get the 2 put in place. So here you can see the final products of all of our effort. We've got the entire helmet put together. The jaw, as you can see, does in fact move. The helmet does actually come off. I'm not gonna pull it off right now because it's spinning, but everything is done. The eyes came out great. The painting came out great. Everything came out great. The paints that we use for this are right here. We use metallic gold by Krylon Fusion, along with the matte Spanish moss for the green. And then we just use regular gold Liquitex, which is, you can get at Hobby Lobby, for the band that goes around the helmet. And then the black was just printed in PET G black. The entire helmet was printed in PET G, except for the gold part here that was printed in PLA, simply because I didn't want to wait for gold PET G to come in, so I just used the PLA that I had on hand. But overall, I mean, it looks phenomenal. It fits well. I'll show you it fitting here in a second, but I absolutely love it. Nothing I would change about it. All right, so that's basically another project down. Again, love this. Going to show you guys it fitting here. It is very snug, very tight, but it does in fact go on. Oh wait, actually, I forgot I have to take down my hair first. It does not fit over my hair when it's wrapped up. There we go, taking that down. Now, put a bandana on because I don't want it to pull my hair because there is loose filament in here, but, there we go. It does in fact fit. I can see out of the eyes, my peripheral vision is gone along, well actually a lot of my vision is gone, but enough is there that I can see right in front of me. The helmet does come off and is adjustable. I put double-sided tape on it so it does stick down a little bit. It's not gonna slide around, as you guys can see. It's good to go, it doesn't move at all, so that's good. And overall, it's perfect. My nose is a little bit smushed, but I can still breathe, so not really a big problem. I'm definitely not gonna be running any marathons or anything in this, but overall, it's definitely great. So no complaints, whatever. I'm probably gonna add padding on the inside here so that I don't have to wear a bandana, or I just always might wear a bandana, I don't know. There is space in here if you want. You can add a like a voice change or whatever to use his actual voice, but you know, that's not something that you have to do. Something that you can do if you want. The straps here are on very well. I mean, obviously, if you applied a lot of pressure to them, they would break, but the E6000, it's doing its job. So, overall, no complaints whatsoever about this build. Let me take this off for a second. And again, oh yeah, the jaw does in fact move. I can lock it up here just with friction, or I can let it drop, whichever I do. You could probably add rubber bands to this to make it so that you can move it when you're actually talking, but there we go. But no problems whatsoever with taking this off, putting it on, wearing it, whatever. It's a phenomenal a phenomenal build. Loved everything about this because I do of course love a GI robot. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode too. If you did, please leave a like and a comment, as it does always help the channel. I will definitely link the Patreon for this. I absolutely loved it. It was Yosh Studios file. Love this helmet. Definitely gonna be printing more, probably for a few of my friends because they did say that they wanted it. But anyways, yeah, phenomenal build, no complaints whatsoever. Well, that's pretty much gonna do it for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for another one. I have another build literally below this table that I'm working on. Stay tuned for what that is. And until next time, stay balanced. See you all. Bye-bye.